we're going to start on this excellent journey, and I'm going to share my screen with you in just a moment. Before I do that, thank you so much for taking the time to come and be here and be part of this webinar. I'm calling it a webinar workshop. None of this is new to everybody, and some of it will be new to some people. There's just a lot of information out there, and it's how we are assimilating that information that is making all the difference in the world right now. We want to be able to take the information that is coming through, and we want to apply it to our lives and make it part of this journey, because there is absolutely no point to just accumulating masses and masses of information. It just doesn't make sense on any level at all. Good. So you should be seeing the first of the slides, and it says here, a wave of awakening. And I like that idea because there's a few reasons why I'm saying a wave of awakening, because I'm seeing energy patterns in the waves, and I've been watching these since September 2017. We have got a wave of energy, which is a shift of consciousness, and it's showing up in the energy field. It's really interesting to me to be observing that. And I thank all of you, because you allow me to be in your energy fields while we're in therapy. And then I'm able to look at this information. And because I'm looking and connecting with so many people, there is a coherence and there is a message that is coming through to really help us to understand and to connect to what is going on. And that is what I would like to bring to you, so that you know that your experience is not an isolated or insulated experience, that you're very much part of the experiencing that is happening right now in the field. You're not alone, and you definitely are on time. So if you can hold that in your heart and absolutely embrace it, I would just love that. The other reason I'm saying a wave of energy, because we're going to be talking about frequencies, and frequencies are waves, and they show up in a visual way for us to see them, like the heart monitor. When you watch a heart monitor, like waves. And the waves also got an idea of perpetual motion, that there is a consistency and a perpetual motion towards that movement and that rhythm of life. And if we can understand that as well, then we can see that we are in a process. And this is an amazing life and an amazing journey if we get this idea. So there we go. And I'm saying inspired concept because I absolutely get these blasts of information. Then I've got to start scribbling and writing, and I've got masses of papers, and I'm drawing pictures, and then I just have to try and put them in a coherent way. So there we go. So inspired, and I'm so grateful for the inspiration. So as we begin now, let's all just take a nice deep breath in. And as you breathe out, center into the space where you are, and just let your beautiful body feel comfortable where you are. And then imagine that you can place around you a beautiful pod, a light bubble, an energy chrysalis. And that beautiful energy around you is holding you safe, loving you, and supporting you. So feel that energy embracing you now. And then in your own way, and how you connect to the divine, let's welcome in the highest vibration of light and love, so that we see each of us as access points through our intention to be here, to be able to hold and transmit energy. That is an amazing awareness that if we can get that idea right, that's what we are doing. We are holding and embracing energy. We are receiving it, and we are transmitting it. So have that idea that you're not just simply listening here to information, that you are, by participating in the idea of higher frequency, you are already engaging into the field that is around us and expanding consciousness simply by agreeing to be here and hold the space. It's really powerful. So thank you for that. Let's start at the very beginning. So that is my desire, is that in honor of the work that you are bringing into my awareness, that I can absolutely hold and honor you, that we seek harmony, and that we're willing to share all of our life's significance with each other, because our lives are significant and they are more significant when we are sharing them. And that we are considerate of all life, and that we relate to ourselves as energy beings, and that we wish to leave a legacy in this life that is filled with the appreciating and thriving in this life. So this is you, this little picture here that I'm saying. This truly is how I see you, because you are willing to engage in higher energy frequencies, and you're willing to start to relate to the world in a different way. And I love that. The only way we can make a difference is to be different. So let's just hold that thought. It's good to be different. And then what we're going to cover in this is we're going to understand about some energy calibrations. We're going to know how these levels fit into our human timeline. And we're understanding the shift that is asking for us to shift now from survival to thriving. We're also going to look at a few of these aspects. We're going to look at the language of survival, so we can start to learn how to speak a different language. We're going to look at the strategies of survival, and then I've said the parameters of survival, so we'll see what that is when we get there. And then the signals of survival. So these are the things that I want us to become very clear about, so that we can step away from it consciously, clearly, and cleanly in a fully awakened way. So let's begin our journey together. So as we start, we want to understand that we as a species have been in the greatest endeavor of survival for all time, from the very beginning of us stepping into our human experience. We've had to find ways to just manage and ways to survive. And so the trajectory that we have chosen can be represented in this way, like a pathway. And the pathway that we've chosen to take is in the agreement that I am to survive at every cost and at any cost. This is what my work is just to survive. And that mechanism is so deeply embedded in our being that it runs as a subliminal program. It knocks us down into a default setting that automatically reacts into that energy vibration or that frequency. So what we have is a mechanism that is helping us, and that has helped us to survive. But at this point in our existence, this mechanism is the exact mechanism that is going to destroy us if we do not go beyond it. The energies and the frequencies, as we'll see now, are not life-supporting or life-sustaining. And especially when we get to a mass consciousness, a mass group of humanity and life upon this earth as we are now, we can no longer just put it under the sand and pretend it doesn't exist. It exists, and we are literally having to stand up for another way of living, or this experience will be over. So, and there's no good us saying, oh, let's say that in a nice way. Let's just say it in its deepest honesty. This is where we are at this point. We are at a point, a great point. So let's go on from there. So let's look at some of the vibrational frequencies that are rattling in our awareness and in the journey of survival. And these vibrational frequencies are the work of David Hawkins in his book, Power versus Force. Now, I have put together this information in a little PDF document. And for those of you who would like to receive that, just please let me know. Send me an email or a WhatsApp message and I'll make sure it comes to you. just so that you can have it as a resource. So you don't have to take notes. I will have this in those notes for you if you'd like to access that. So we applaud this work of David Hawkins and his power versus force as he identifies frequencies in numbers. So I think numbers help us to really get at what it is. And if we were to understand that we are on a trajectory, which means a pathway, and that the pathway has a sense of, in our human understanding, a linear pathway away from moving from here to there, A to B, and we could plot ourselves somewhere along this pathway. In truth, the best description is for us to see this as a spiral, but just for ease of how to present it, just accept now that it is a line. It is not a line. It is very much a spiral. But see it in this way now, just because it makes it a little easier for us to just put the ideas together, because it's a concept more than anything that I want you to get. So here in the very first layer of awareness is shame. And you think about the story of Adam and Eve, and I don't think it's any mistake that that same story is found in so many ancient cultures. The shaming, the hiding, the secrecy, the denying, and all of that game that comes around, the games that come and play in the idea of shame. When we look at shame, and David Hawkins speaks about this as vibrating at a low frequency of about 20, then we go another level. The next level after we feel shameful, then the next level is guilt. And guilt vibrates at about 30. And then grief comes in at about 75. And think about grief and guilt and shame, and then the next one, fear, which comes in at 100. These are the underlying mechanisms that drive us in our survival. It is because of fear that we have developed another part of our brain so that we can find ways to solve our problems, to create safe places, to protect ourselves, to build, to create structures, to defend ourselves. So we have found our fear as on a higher vibration because it is actually a catalyst for higher brain functioning. But it is motivated by fear. So it will always collapse down into the lowest vortex, into the lowest vibration. Fear will instill grief, guilt, and shame in some way or another. Those will resonate. So you can see if we are saying, well, fear is a motivator. Yes, it is a motivator, but it's not a sustainable motivator. And it has brought us to the level of 100 in our ability to calibrate ourselves in a frequency. Then the next one is desire, 125. And he uses the word desire. I would not choose the word desire because I like to use the idea of desire as an idea that is beyond our beyond this heart's desire. I like to use the idea of desire as heart's desire because then you're connecting into the heart. The desire here is more of the primitive desire, that lust and greed and grab and take and manipulate. I'll get it before you. I must take all of this so that you have none because I cannot starve. It's that locked in mentality. But it only resonates at about 125. It's a little higher than fear because, again, it's a motivating energy. The desire to protect ourselves stimulates our awareness and our brain and brings us into a slightly higher functioning, which brings us into a higher frequency. And then anger comes in. We all know how to play with this one. And anger is 150. Anger has a place and a space because it is a catalytic energy. And a catalytic energy is an explosive energy that helps to bring about change very quickly. But if it is embedded in fear, it's anger through fear. If it's anger through desire and lust and need, if it's anger based in fear or grief, guilt or shame, then it's too low. Its energy, the vortex, drops again. And then we come into pride, the vibration of pride, and it's 175. And David Hawkins, in his book, describes pride as being a level that people come to and they start feeling good about themselves. And it's a recognition that I can be proud of myself. I can honor who I am, and I can show up in this world with this beautiful body and this beautiful being. So there is an awareness here that our pride at 175 becomes a little higher, a little more, a little heightened. But this pride, when it is also based in fear and accumulation and desire and pulling and grabbing and shaming and blaming and guilt, if it's in that vibration, it's still not of value to us. Although it makes us feel like we've got to a certain point and we're feeling better about ourselves. Okay, so is everybody okay in that space? And will you just give me a thumbs up if you are seeing the slides okay and hearing me okay? Thank you. All right, my darlings. So let's go on now. So if we understand that, thank you. If we understand that that is a pathway and it has served us well, and so now we are here in this space. So now let's have a look what happens. The language of survival, and I want you to really start to pay attention to the language. These are language codes that'll tell you that you are vibrating in a lower frequency of survival. So when your language comes into I must, I should, and I have to, those vibrational frequencies in that language are placing you into this drop down vortex energy. It puts you in the place of resentment, which could resonate as anger. It could put you in a place of guilt. Oh, I have to do this out of obligation. Can you see how very quickly, if we play with this language, we also drop our vibration? And when we're not cluing into why our vibrational frequency is dropping, and we suddenly get this sense of like, oh, I'm exhausted and I'm tired of doing this and I can't go on, and we're getting these signals, it's because this language and the language that we're using is dropping our vortex. It's not the one we want to use. So I want you to just make a commitment to being a sleuth. And when this language comes into your awareness, toss it away, get it out, reframe and rephrase immediately. So when you say, oh, I have to go to see so-and-so, when you hear have to, go, oh, ping, 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 and change it, reframe it, restate it, and say, it'll be great for me to go and see that person, or they would really enjoy it if we visited together. Then you've changed it out of a have to into a different signal. We can talk more about that. Now, the strategies that are in survival. So we want to know all of these because, you know, they're like little masks of deception, and they come in, they sneak in, and they really pull us off target because they are partly embedded in a default system. So here are our strategies. So in order to not go into a place, a higher vibrational place, in order to stay in this low vibration, these mechanisms lock us in, and they are to deny, deflect, distract, defend, destroy, all those DDDs words. And when we find ourselves denying ourself or another, deflecting and distracting, or defending our situation or our space, or trying to destroy another with our words or hate speech or insecurities or whatever those things are, whatever that is, if we are playing in these ideas and we are building that around us as a protective strategy, then we will remain locked in to this vibration that is way, way too low. I hope that makes sense. And then this will explain the survival parameters. And I thought, oh my gosh, what other word can I use? But parameters jumped into my head, so I used it. So there we go. If you come up with a better one, just tell me. But I thought the parameters are like the foundation or the edges or the surrounding space, the parameter, that which encompasses or holds us. And if you think about playing in a field where you are seeking validation, any kind of conditional energy, where there are restrictions and separation, then you are right inside of survival frequency. So let's talk a moment about that. When we are seeking validation, we are going into a need, must, should, have. We want someone to validate us because we need that to feel better about who we are. When we're seeking the conditions, I can do this if. Conditional energy is judgmental energy, and it's separation energy. It puts us apart. It is not just yes as yes can be. It's yes maybe, yes but, yes if only. It also goes back to the one just before where it's dependent and reliant. Then if you're playing in restrictions, any rules, restrictions, these are the things that are going to mess us up, because what we're doing then is we're saying we can only manage if we make the world that we're in very small. And the smaller we make it, the more defined it is. The more restrictions we place upon ourselves and everybody around us, the more safe we think we are. We only play in these parameters when we are playing in survival. We need to survive, so I need you to validate me. We need this, so there needs to be a condition. We need to be safe and all follow the same rules, so we have to place in these restrictions. And then we create separation. Because when we place the separation idea in, we are doing us and them. And that is war. That is instant war. The moment I say you are not me, and that we are not breathing the same breath of the divine, the moment I say we don't beat by one heart, then I'm saying you are not me, and I can kill you and I will feel no remorse. That is war. This energy is where we are. These games, you just have to turn on the news and listen to the people around you. Listen to these cues and become clear about what is showing up and what is speaking to us, and how are we speaking and how are we maintaining it. So we've done this obliviously for just oh so long. If we were to look at the signals that come in for this, now we're starting to say, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I can't bear this clutter, this chaos. People are feeling depressed. They're feeling that they are in the sense of hopelessness, despairing of their space and their place. This apathy, I just can't get up, I just can't move, I can't fix it, I don't know what to do, it's only me. What difference can I make? Why should I bother? All of that hopelessness, overwhelm, despair, it is a signal that your frequency is too low. And the desperation of your higher self is saying, come on, come on. But the frequency is so heavy around you and around all of us that it feels a little bit like we are sticky and walking in molasses. So it's like that kind of feeling. Trying to lift our feet and our feet are sticking. So these signals, if we were to look at them, perhaps on like a heart monitor, they would look a little bit like these bleeps that go up and down in these high points. And you'll notice that if your energy is spiking high, low, high, low, high, low, and you just can't find a balance. One day you're up, next day you're down. One day you're happy, the next day you want to smash everyone in the face and all the other lovely things that we do. Oh my gosh, your energy spikes and it goes all over the place. Okay, now I have to stop there for just a second because I'm going to tell you a ridiculous story. So my precious mummy, when she was pretty much bound to a chair or wheelchair at the later part of her life, the frustration for her was enormous. It was beyond, beyond, beyond. And she used to love to do cross stitch, and she had these teeny little darling pair of scissors. They look like a little goose with like a long beak. They're teeny little, like 2 inches big, or the size of a pinky finger big. And she would be sitting there, and obviously the body is so agitated with this being trapped in the body, and her mind was so clear, and she was such a gracious and beautiful person. And of course my dad is the eternal tease. Oh my gosh, if my dad can tease, he's as happy as can be. So he would tease my mom with so much love. And they had this little game that they would play in that. And so the one day I hear my mommy say, "Ooh, you make me so irritable, Teddy. Come and stand here next to me so I can stab you with my scissors." And I just love that so much, because these tiny little scissors, but he's got to walk there to be stabbed, you know, and it was just so sweet. And I loved that my mum was able to speak her frustration and then play with it. It didn't drop her into a place of like, no one listens to me, no one understands me. It was just like, open it up and speak of it as truth. And then we can find a more playful and lighter way to express our pain and discomfort and dissatisfaction, our frustration. So these patterns, these spikes that we are hitting, these highs and lows, they are telling you that you are not holding your frequency well. So if you are experiencing that, please don't blame and shame yourself. Just know that it is because of the frequency that we're playing in, and it's too low. It's not your fault. It is the system that was set up so that we would survive. Now we've survived. Now it's ready for another journey. So here we come to the point of choice. We can stay playing in this game, which I lovingly call stupid. Yeah, because, you know, we're all in it. And I know when I'm hitting my best stupid points. We can choose to stay in it, or we can choose something else. And the fact that so many of you are showing up, and we are holding these spaces and holding meditations as groups, and we're coming into groups where we are holding higher consciousness, there is an awakening us. And that is giving us an idea that there is something else. The idea that there is something else is the point of choice. And so we come into that the moment we realize that there is a point of choice. We can begin to work into that and start to choose again. We cannot, if it is not chosen, if we do not choose it, it cannot be chosen. That's the way to say it. If we do not choose, it cannot be chosen. So it is us who is ready to choose. And I think that the pushing that we're getting and the massive contrast that we are seeing now is what is pushing us more and more and more to awaken. This contrast is literally picking us up by the shoulders and say, hey, look, hey, look, hey, look, hey, look, 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 look now. Look and become clear. Don't look and suffer. Look and become clear, and look and start to choose. So David Hawkins says this beautiful quote. He says, for the world to stay at levels below 200, and remember, pride came in at 175. So for us to stay below 200 over a prolonged period of time, this would cause a great imbalance that would undoubtedly lead to the destruction of all humanity. And we can see, of course, how that will go there. Where we are now, the trajectory that we are on now is telling us this clearly. More clearly than this, we could not have it. So what could we do? If we were at a point of choice, because of all of this is starting to rattle in us, could we choose something else? And what might that be? Could we possibly entertain that there is another trajectory, and that could be to thrive? And what would you choose? Just you. Not what would you choose for anybody else. What would you choose if you knew that all life depended upon your desire to thrive? If you wish to thrive, this becomes a catalyst for a whole new trajectory, a whole new pathway. So if we choose to thrive, let's just imagine what it might look like. If we had to say the first entry step into this new trajectory was courage. And courage comes in at 200. Now at courage, we really start to feel like we are doing something because we start to exercise our vibrational field and our courage. We step into our magnificence and we step into that part of us that knows how to show up no matter what. And I like the word courage because if you say it in French and you say courage, the cour is the heart. And you say cour is heart and rage. So we rage through the heart. It's not rage as in anger and hate and destroy. It is raging with a sense of absolute confidence that there is another way to show up. And we start to step into our courage. If every one of us just decided we're going to step into our courageous being and we're going to claim the space that we are holding, and we're going to say that we are here to hold the space and to bring a different frequency in, that courage will uplift this experience to 200 immediately. We will bypass all those lower signals simply by exercising the rage within the heart, the rage for the new life and a different trajectory. If we can come into this beautiful one, neutrality. Neutrality registers at 250. Now, this is a good one to come to, because when we can start to exercise our awareness and our sense of being in neutrality, then we're able to come into a center point of non-activating into the field, because we're able to see ourselves in a neutral base, and from this neutral base, we begin to move in this world in such an incredible way, such a truly profoundly incredible way. It's really lovely, neutrality. And I've got some little meditations that I'm going to send you after this to help you and support you. Put them on, listen to them at night, let them run into your subconscious mind, let them upgrade your vibrational frequencies, your energy language. So when you wake up in the morning, there's a program that's starting to run in you. And then you begin to exercise that program through the day. And you start to say, can I be neutral in this? Do I have to react to everything? Do I have to feel offended about everything? Or could I just be neutral? Could I choose to find the space of neutrality? It's quite a fun exercise. And by doing that, just you is opening your vibration to 250. Then the energy of willingness comes in at 310. If you're willing, I love the energy of willingness. And you see that so much in children, this willingness. I love that energy. Embrace it in you. Find your inner child. Be willing. Be willing to have fun. Be willing to laugh. Be willing to love. 350 is the vibration of acceptance. That's quite a hard one for us to accept. So I think, you know what, if we can go to our courage, or we can get to our neutral space, I think that's quite a nice one. And then we can play in and out of willingness. We don't have to get this all right in one day. For hundreds and thousands of years, we've been playing in survival, and we know how to do it really, really, really well. We just begin here. We begin to entertain a different way of holding our energy so that we can uphold energy. Then the vibration of reason and the being reasonable and understanding and really considering. This is a beautiful energy, 400. Can you feel how strong that is? And then the vibration of love comes in at 500. And 500 is just so beautiful. So this is what David Hawkins says in his book, The Power of a Few People at the Top counterbalances the weakness of the masses. So if one individual, now listen to how this can relate to you, one individual begins to hold an energy balance of 300. So you're stepping into courage. You will counterbalance 90,000 individuals who are calibrating at the energy of below 200. 90,000, you on your own, deciding that you're going to hold an uplifted frequency around you. See how powerful this is. Then one individual holding the level of 500, which is the energy of love. This will counterbalance 750,000 individuals who are below 200. That is a massive amount of individuals. And it doesn't mean that I'm going to each one and saying, I love you, I love you. It's frequency. Frequency is energy. Energy is a current. And current and energy is what we can send out from this being, because this being is a transmitter. It's a transformer and it's a transmitter. It is so fabulous. So in other words, as a co-creator of this world, once you step out of the low vibratory level of fear and vibrate at the level of courage and above, soon as you go just above, not only will you be transforming your own personal life into an incredible experience, but you'll also be helping to raise the consciousness of mankind, and you will become part of the co-creating a less fearful world for everyone. This is truly a gift. Imagine if your life could be that significant. I think that is worth living for. So if we looked at the vibrational level and we put it on its trajectory and we put it on the other side of the picture that we've been looking at, and we say, okay, then I'm going to start playing in this just as much as I can. I'm not going to get it perfect, but I'm going to allow myself to start to play in it. And I allow these two frequencies in my awareness to intersect. That because I'm choosing a different pathway, I can allow the intersecting of the path of thriving to move over the energy of survival and the path of survival. How incredible is that? That we can intercept and intersect at a point and look at the point that it is creating when these two connect. Now, that is the point where we are right now, at that point of experiencing something else. In order to make a difference, I need to be different. And that coming into the different vibration is going to make a difference. And the point of it is at the point of intersection, where they connect. And so, let's imagine what happens when this truly comes into place. If we were to play with it in the idea of energy and waves, chaotic signals of survival, we imagine might be this haphazard up, down, jing, jing, sharp points, high highs, low lows that are moving through our field. And then on the other side, thriving energy has very different signals. They are more wave-like patterns. They're more cohesive, and they network and they twine into each other. And we imagine this like a beautiful wave, and it's gently forming. And let's put the two together and imagine what will happen when the one runs into the other. Imagine now if you were seeing the energy of thriving and think about pouring oil upon troubled water, disturbed water that was choppy. And you poured this oil, this healing balm of the thriving energy on top of the water that is disturbed. This blanket of balm would go over this disturbing jiggity-jaggedy vibration, and it would begin to start to smooth it and gently bring it into a place of calmness. So can you see that we're not saying get rid of it, we're just bringing a deep and profound healing, which is us, into the vortex. we imagine that these healing waves could look like beautiful swells, like just gentle swells. And we imagine what they would do over and above and on top of and subduing those high, volatile, energetic, chaotic waves of survival. That is frequency. And when we get that we are offering, by being in that frequency, and a wave of energy that is coming from us, from this one person, that I can actually, in troubled times, I can send a healing wave of energy. The only way I can do that is to be holding a higher vibration. If I'm activating in the field with fear and disruption and hate and greed and loathing and disruption and shame and blame, if I'm activating lower vibration, I cannot be a healing balm and I cannot soothe that vibrational frequency. So the point of choice here is that we must choose. And we must choose now with all our heart and all our soul. It is absolutely time. We hold this entire experience in the palm of our hands because we are the ones who are here now. And we are the ones we have been waiting for. We hold the key. We were given free will so that we would exercise our will, the willingness to be here. Remember, the beginning of the step up was willingness. Our free will is our willingness. I allow, I give, I deserve, I receive, I give. It is a beautiful, beautiful energy. That is the point of choice that I am literally holding in my hands as I hold the consciousness and the possibility of earth in the palm of my hands. And then who am I? If I can hold so much in my awareness, who am I? We really begin to challenge this idea. And we ask this question with so much love, who am I? That I can hold so much love and compassion in my heart, grace and understanding. That there's a part of me that just knows how to do that. In the most horrendous times, people call for mercy and comfort and kindness and generosity of spirit. We call for the thing that is not being shown to us. How do we know how to do that? There is a coding in our heart that is calling forth. We hold the code of this new beginning, and it is in our heart. If we could see ourselves as mighty beings, and that we hold this point of life in the life of this body, and we get the point of us coming into the body. What on earth was the reason for coming into this body, this time, in this place, this crazy world? Because this body is a form, and it holds the form so that the form can be informed. And we are informed by performing with each other. And we have been doing that in the energy of surviving, playing with performing, informing, performing. We've got locked into a loop that is absolutely exhausting. It's time to stop it. Just stop doing that. And now move into a different trajectory, into a different energy, a different space. We begin to choose, and we begin to choose with all our heart and all our soul. It is at this point we become the magnificent beings of light and love that we truly are. With all my heart, I remember who I am, and I remember that I have a coding and a gift that is part of this desire for peace and compassion and kindness. And the helplessness and the hopelessness that we have felt is only because we have thought we are helpless and hopeless. It's only because we have been made to feel so small and insignificant that we cannot make significant change. And the moment we step in fully in our beautiful being with the arms open like this one, with a heart just channeling this amazing energy, And it decides that I am actually a transformer. I know how to step energy up and down. I know how to change frequencies, and I can change it instantly. In a moment of anger and rage, there is also a part of me that's saying, this is not for you. This is not okay. But we get locked into it and we get hijacked with the limbic system and cortisol, epinephrine, norepinephrine running rampant in our system. And we need a point of interception there that says, take a breath, stop, just stop. And what is this all about? What are you amplifying into the field by being in this rage and this disruptive energy? And at that point, we get the point. And at that point, we begin to signal something else. And what can we choose? Any of the frequencies that are in the energy of thriving. We can choose to be neutral. We can choose to be courageous. We can choose to be willing to listen, to hold the space. We can just choose something other than what we have been choosing. And we will start to do this and we'll practice it. We'll have to keep practicing it. And thank goodness we got lots of reasons to be able to practice it, because people are still going to make us very irritable and situations are still going to rattle us completely. But it's okay. Practice. It's a great opportunity. We've got an entire world of masses of opportunities. Allow those opportunities to come into your awareness. Oh, I just thought of my great-grandmother. Oh, she was so sweet. I love to quote her stuff because she was full of quotes. This is what she used to say. 3 things returneth not to man: the spent arrow, the spoken word, and the lost opportunity. And when opportunity knocks, grab it at the forelocks and never, never let it go. And that truly is where we are. The spent word. We have been spending our words very badly. And the lost opportunities. And the moment is now. Just choose something else. And then we can step into this whole new world. We can really make a significant difference to this experience and to the experiences of those who are still to come. At this point here, when we decide and we choose and we claim our space, can you see the yellow light that I've shown going right through from top to bottom? Because the minute we stand in a center point and we align ourselves into the magnificence of this creation, and we call on our gracious aspect, the part of us that is always there, that part of us that is seeking and yearning and calling forth, that part of us is coming in and through us, and we simply stand in it like standing in a shower of light. We let that light completely bathe us right through the center of our core, connecting us in as a conduit from the divine realm into this human realm. So we are literally the transformers, the place of connection, standing between 2 vibrational frequencies, 2 different realities. We are multi-dimensional beings, multi-level, multi-processing, multi-dimensional beings. Yeah, I said that one. There we go. Bring it in. So ask yourself now, what would you choose if you knew? If you knew that the choice that you make in every moment, in every breath, in every step, in every beat of your heart, just choosing, you don't even have to act upon it, just choosing to reframe, to reconnect, to find another way, that is the greatest gift that you will bring into your awareness, into the lives of all those around you. Oh, deep breath. We're nearly there. So, the point of choice, we begin to embrace it. We stand in our truth and we hold ourselves in the center. When we create ourselves as a center, a portal of information and access to bring that information to be informed, then we stop the performing that is aimless and pointless, and we begin to become transformers. we shift energy, and we transform our frequency and our experience as a human species. When we choose this, we create a ripple around us. We make an impact upon this earth, and that impact is like a drop falling into water, and the ripple opens up. That impact is the one thing that we can create, because it's energy, and it will continue to flow forward. It will continue to flow and open around us. Choosing and making the impact is the answer for the next step. So I'd like you to consider this. How will you stay connected to inspiration? How do you stay connected to inspiration, inspired, insight, intuition? How do you stay connected to that? And how do you feel supported along your life journey? And who is supporting you, and how are you supporting you? And how are you supporting others in this life journey? There are a few of us who are part of a group, a membership site, and we do this. We show up, we hold the space, and we receive consistent plug-ins. And this is one of the things that is our greatest gift, to be able to consistently plug in to another vibrational frequency, to remind us, to help us, and to hold us as we are doing this journey. Find a way to get connected and to plug in to something that opens your awareness on a moment by moment or a daily basis. Just making that commitment to show up and be in that frequency will establish it as your frequency. And that is the greatest gift that we can give ourselves, if we just begin to show up in that amazing space of being. So if you are ready to step into your most magnificent life, I'm going to invite you to join our membership group, and you can ask about that. There's so much that is moving, happening in that, and what is coming in as insight is being offered there on that platform. So you can ask about that. I can send you links, and you can read up and see if that's for you. And I just want to finish with this last little moment, and then we'll open for the last few minutes if there's questions and answers. So this is my blessing to you. I place this blessing into the vortex of energy that is holding you and surrounding you right now. May the impact of your step leave an impression of energy upon this earth, and may the mark left by the soles of your feet awaken the souls of those to come with the beautiful ripple that you create as you begin to be in a whole new way. May you really truly feel the blessing of this in your life. It truly is a magnificent journey.
It's clear to see from up here.
So I wanted to get to all the questions that came through, and I thought if I could just say it this way, it might be an easier way to access it, the information, and if I just speak it into a little video for you. So here we go. So one of the questions, and I think I momentarily covered that, what causes the energy spikes? Well, there's a lot of things that cause energy spikes. And part of it is what is happening in the field around us. There's a lot of electromagnetic energy in the field as we are going into immense fluctuations as a planet in the whole cosmos. So we can look up evidence of that, of solar flares and all these things. And this really does connect in with us and spikes our energy. However, we're not aimless beings that have no awareness of being in this cosmos. We are beings of the cosmos. So I don't really enjoy the idea of becoming very, very stuck in the fact that, oh, we're just at the mercy of the solar flares and the push and the pull of the planets. We're not at the mercy of it. We certainly are aware of it, and it is connecting into us and reacting in our being in some way, which makes us know that we're part of all that is here. But we have an aspect to us that is also able to discern and to decide. And so that part of us is that when we are feeling the stretch and this pull and there's a lot of chaotic, static energy, we can still choose how we want to be in that moment. So yes, we have high and low vibrations on this, and the way we are connecting to it will either elevate our vibration or drop it as a darker feeling, a deeper, more painful feeling. So it'll go either way, and the choice point is us. We choose how much we want to suffer in this life or how much we want to thrive, even though there are solar flares, even though there's chaos in the world, even though there's hate and anger, even though there are wars, even though we're insecure, we still can hold our energy being, even though. Okay, so we can talk more about that, and I invite you on our membership site. We have once a month a Zoom connection, and we chat about things that we really want to unwrap and unfold, and we gather and we hold that space. So use that as well, and let's really unwrap these ideas and thoughts, and let's get our collective insight. That's what we want to do. All right, lovely. Thank you for that. Then there was another one that was saying, I find myself detaching and disconnecting, struggling to reach myself. Okay, so now remember when we were speaking about the ways that we distract, deny, deflect, detach, and all the ways that we push away. When we are doing pushing away energy, of course we're going to disconnect, because we're trying to protect ourselves. Can you hear? When we're trying to protect ourselves by pushing away, we are causing a separation. Those are all the parameters, all the signals, all the language of survival is wrapped up inside of that. And there is our choice point. Do we want to just survive this and manage it, or do we want to actually know what is going on and choose something else? It's so much about choice. Who knew we had so much choice? So yes, if you're finding yourself detaching and disconnecting and struggling to reach your inner being or struggling to reach yourself, it's because a part of your mechanism has decided that this is really too scary for you. So it's got to block and it's got to defend and deflect your energy being. So this is part of that reason as well. It's that code or that system and the operating system that we have settled into as the truth. It's not the truth. There is another way. Good. Right, there was another question. How is neutrality different to denial? Oh, love that question. So let's think about the energy of this. Always when you come in and you're trying to work something out, just go one step back and say to yourself, what is the energy inside of this? So think about you as you are connecting to your energy, and when you're thinking of denial, it's the same as the one we just spoke about. It's that energy of pushing away and denying, and I'm not in it, and I won't look and I won't see. It's that being that is down and submerged in the mud, and God forbid it picks its head up and sees a bit of light. So this terror of being, that is the denial. The energy in that is terror and fear and anxiety, panic, suppression, that lower vibrational energy. Whereas neutrality is not adding another energy into it. So can you hear how that makes it different? That when you are able to come into neutrality, you're not pushing it away and you're not pretending. There's no pretense here. You are simply holding a space that says it's okay for this to be and me to be, and that to be and me to be. It's okay for me to be in the center. And the idea here that really helps a lot is if you can allow yourself to come into the sense of I am witnessing myself in this life. It's the observer, the one that steps one step back and can observe ourselves inside of all these interactions and inside of all this crazy chaos. That makes all the difference. Okay. Then neutrality, there was an asking to talk more about neutrality. I would love for you to connect to the guided meditations that I'm sending to you that help you to feel what neutrality feels like in your body. When you use the guided meditations, use them at night. Allow that high frequency language to integrate into your body. When we are listening like this, I must listen to it. Our defense mechanism is always activated. And so that part of us is going to go, oh, this is not going to work for me. Oh, this is just rubbish. Well, yeah, you can say that. But you can also allow for something else to awaken in your being. And the funny thing is that we wanted to awaken in our being while we're not awake. So when we are in the sleep space, we are able to process really, really rapidly. So we can process there at 40 million bits per second. This is the work of Dr. Bruce Lipton, and he speaks about that, how quickly we can process in that space where we move into theta. We are able to access that when we go into meditation and as we're going into sleep. It is there that we can shift things so rapidly. You'll know this as an absolute inside of your body. If you've gone to bed at night and have had a very staticky kind of a day, a lot of aggravation, and you resting, and as you're dropping off to sleep, your body will suddenly do that little joke, that little jolt, that little jerk will come through your being. And we have a lot of those at night. Our system wants to release all static. We are not here as a container. We're simply here as a sensory being to integrate and to connect with the sensories, through our sensory system to the sensing of what is in and around us, so that we can interpret who we are in this time and place. This idea of being able to drop into a quieter inner space is an absolute gift to us, because we bypass all the mechanisms that create the shutdown for us. And those are painful. Our systems lock them in and we trap them inside. We become very, very stuck inside of our own place. So when you put on the guided connections and you let them run, there is high vibration language moving in and through your system. And it's accessing the part of you that is your magnificence, your magnificent drive. If you're a computer, you would have a magnificent drive. And it accesses that part of you. So when you're running those meditations for neutrality, it is giving your mind body another option that you can choose from to find that space of neutrality. And you will be able to access it when you need to access it. In the meantime, we're doing our life and we're paying attention. We're standing as the observer and we're marking the moments where insight is guiding us towards higher awareness. So if there are any more questions, bring them into the Zoom room once a month Q&A that we have, and bring them in there and let's unwrap them a little bit more. We'll have a whole hour just to focus on what it is that you'd love to bring in. Bring them there, feel the support of the others in that lovely group, and let's grow together and let's truly make our impact a beautiful, beautiful one. So much love to you all. Thank you for being part of this journey and choosing your journey.